Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials on any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
Yeah, our next topic is deep dive into Dockerfile. That's important. Deep dive into Dockerfile. Now here I will not give you the lab because I'm going to take all of this time, remaining time. But yep, if you in offline hours, if you want to do something, then you can do that. Okay, so first thing is let's trace back one of the images which we've been working with. Okay, so here Jenkins slash Jenkins. This is the image which you've been working since yesterday. So let's find it out how this developer has developed this image. Let me tell you here, there must be some base root file system. Okay, a root file system here, and then you know that Jenkins is based on the Java and then Jenkins. So this will be kind of stake you must be having in this image, because Jenkins is a CI tool required Java, and Java, for that you need a root file system, and root file system you must be having something, some root file system. So let's trace it back. So let's go to Jenkins Docker Hub. Look at my screen, all of you. I'm using Google. That's much easier for us. So this is the image which we are using right now. And let's go to the Docker file. So where do we find the Docker file, by the way? So here you should be able to find the Docker file. This documentation is not updated properly. So here they should be having the Docker file, but I can't see it. So no problem. I can go to the GitHub and locate that, but I don't want to go to the GitHub. Rather, I want to make it simple. So let's go to the official images. There we'll be having documentation in proper. So here, this is the official image. It's got deprecated, but the Docker file will remain same actually. So here, Jenkins, where is it? Should be coming Jenkins. Here it is. So this this image we are not using, but the Docker file will remain same actually. So here, so where is the Docker file? You see the latest one. Click on the Docker file. Now when I click on the Docker file, now you know the Docker file. Here I see so many statements. See here, you have a from, run, arg, environment, volume, run, and many more arguments are there. What exactly these are and how to use it, we will discuss later. But I want to figure it out how this developed, how this images has been developed. So Jenkins has been developed using this image, OpenJDK tagged with 8-JDK. Here I see from. Now you understand the from, so it's very easy to discuss. So now here I will just trace back in the new browser, Docker Hub. Guys, this is a very important session, so please focus on it. And here, okay, and then look at the Docker file. So here Docker file should be, it's a AMD 64 version, right? We were using. So here if I see, Jenkins image has been developed using the root file base file system, base image, OpenJDK. I'm just going to the base image, OpenJDK Docker file, and then see what exactly. So here the tag is 8-JDK. So I'm tracing it, the development of this. So you can also understand this much better. Here it is. So here it is. So now I click on this. This will take me to the Docker file again. And here I see the OpenJDK, that tag is developed using this base image. Look at this, how this chain has been developed. See here. So this image has been using this image with this tag. This image is using this image with this tag. Now let's track build packs depths. Docker Hub. Here. And tag is bustard-scm. Here it is. Now this is the image. So now you see that build packs defs is just coming from the same image. They have used as a base as the same image, but the tag is different. This is called Bustard curl. So I'll just go back and search for the Bustard curl. Buster curl. So now if I search for the Buster curl, here it is. Now you see here, if I see the Buster curl, this is from the Debian. Now I can understand that, okay, Jenkins is based on the Debian, but still I'll figure it out. Debian, I'll go for the Docker Hub and Debian. And here it is. And now if I see what is the tag with Buster, right? Buster, here it is. Click on it. It'll take you to the GitHub. And now if you see here, if I see the how this Debian Bustard has been created from scratch. So you see the history, this is the timeline. The moment you find the scratch, that means nothing. See here. So what is they are doing? Add what? Root fs.tar.z. This is a GIF file, tar compressed file. And where is they are loading? At the root location inside the container. You know that the rule of Docker file, I hope you remember. Now what is a CMD? I'll explain it to you. Okay, but you see here, they are exploding the tar file at root location. Now you want to know the content of this file. Scratch means nothing. It's a zero, layer zero. Okay, so if you want to know this, what is the tar file, I would like to show you. So I have downloaded much earlier from the same GitHub references. Same, if you go to this location, you can get this tarball. Okay, so I have downloaded, and this is the tarball which is there loading. Have you seen this file system somewhere? What is this?
Root file system.
It's a root file system for the Debian. Okay, so guys, this is how we do that. So here, so you see that how we have developed. See, scratch, they got the Debian. From the Debian, they install some utility here. I don't know what kind of utility they installed it. So maybe curl or something. Here they might have installed the git or something. SCM, it says SCM, right? And then here they install the JDK, and then finally the Jenkins guys is using this image. So you decide which image, which is your base image, and all this stuff like that. It is dependent on you. Okay, so what we learned, you can also create from scratch also directly. You can also directly create from scratch. You can have this root file system you define. You can define the root file system. Kernel will remain same, but you can create your new version of Linux itself. You can define root file system, you can change it. Kernel will not be able to change it, but root file system you can change it. Whatever the file directory structure you want in the new system, you can have it. So guys, are you able to understand this?
Yes, Rajesh.
What is the
Yes.
one question?
Yeah, tell me.
So so now that you said that we can actually use Scratch and create from there itself. So when we go through this chain, it is more to do with the reliable path, or why we should leverage on that chain and get confused rather than straightway define in Scratch. It's about reusing.
See, think in this perspective. Jenkins guys wanted to have Debian plus JDK, so they use this image. Now this guy wanted to have this image, so it depends upon the requirements. Up to you. By the way, let me tell you here, all these are official images, and you can trust these images. All these are official images. It's not a community images. Official images. Make sense?
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So now you can decide how you want to develop your images, and image development is most important part of the Docker ecosystem. Okay, so now let's try to understand this file. Not this one. This one. This is a Jenkins. No. This is a Jenkins. Yeah, correct. So now you understand from. What is the meaning of from? You understand. Run. You understand. Now you see here ARG. Guys, ARG basically is feeding. You can hear my statement very carefully. ARG is basically feeding the arguments values during the runtime. Okay, so what will happen? They are setting the variable here. ARG user is equal to Jenkins, group is equal to Jenkins, UID is equal to Jenkins, and dub dub dub. All these arguments they have set it up. It's something like a variable. And during the when you create a container, okay, when you create a container during the runtime, all these variables will get interpolated. Okay, so now how can be interpolated automatically? So you can use the dollar user. See here. So if you set some variables using ARG argument, then you can pass these variables values through the dollar curly braces, and that's this one. So here you see there's one has been passed here dollar. See here HTTP port has been passed here, agent port has been passed here. So these are the arguments actually to the runtime environment. So if you want to set at one place and then reuse it multiple times, you set it up. Simple. This is a typical practices we do in the programming languages as well. You set the variables and then reuse it as many times you want it. Okay. Now guys, here environment. Okay, if you want to set some environment in the container, okay, container, then you have to use env. For example, I don't know how many of you have noticed this one. Let me show you directly rather than talking. See here, docker run -d jenkins -jenkins. Okay, and now this is the one container I'm creating just for the displaying purpose. I think the image was not there, so he's downloading it. Done. So now here I got this image, docker ps. This is the this is the container. Okay, now I want to set that, I want to check that environment variable. So let me run the env linux command. See, there's so many environment variable. So for running the application you need certain environment variable, but how do you set during the runtime? So env, you see here through env they have set the jenkins home. Let me locate this. Must be here somewhere. Here it is. And jenkins slave agent port. Where is that? I'm not able to locate it.
Right below
Here
that.
it is. Yeah, this is the one. So these are the ways in which these are the runtime environment. Let me tell you, argument will be happen during the runtime. Environment will be having during the runtime. Let me tell you one more thing here. These are the meta information. Meta layer, you can say. Mind it here. Do not forget the rules which I taught you. I said each line in the Docker file will be creating one layer. It could be data layer or it could be meta layer. Mind it here. Meta layer will be used during the runtime. Data layer will be used during the merging. Simple. Okay. So this is the meta layer. This is the meta layer. Okay. Now here you run, you know that very well. Okay. Now, do you remember that volumes? Because of this line, you see that volumes means it will create one random volumes and will mount inside a container at this location. Very simple. So that means the container is gone, but the data will still be there inside a volume and you can reuse it wherever you want it. Okay. Now again, you know, run env, run copy. I think you know the copy during the CI/CD of using the Docker file using CI/CD. If you want to copy some files from the host machine inside a container, this is the command you can write it. So this file should be there in the current directory dot path. Current context, it should be there. So if you want this, if you want to see this path, if you click here, you will see that file. So you can download this whole registry and you can see that. Again arg, again environment variable. Now you see here expose. Do you remember internally? Let me tell you here, this container expose here HTTP port and agent port. HTTP port is 8080 and agent port is 50,000. Let me tell you, this is not deciding on which port our application container should run. No, remember, always fundamental, the application should run on which port, that is decided by the application itself in the configuration file. Like if you want to run Apache, you have to modify the Apache configuration. If you want to run Jenkins, you have to modify the Jenkins configuration and their port. So now you must be wondering why it is here. So basically this is for informational purpose and informational purpose for other people. Like when you create a container and you see Docker PS, then you will get to know, okay, 80 port which is coming here and 50,000 port which is coming here. So if you see that here, Docker PS, if I see here, why I am seeing 80 port and 50,000 port? Why? Because of this statement. So I'll get to know, okay, these are the two port has been exposed for this particular application. Let's say I am developing one application called XYZ. So how do you know which applications or which port I'm exporting? I'm basically what is that? Exposing. How do you know? So here developers will put this information here. So this will be used for the informational purpose. By the way, using -p also, this can be used internally. Okay, so this will not impact the applications but informational. Okay, environment, now you see here, anyone would like to tell me Jenkins container is running with a which user? Anyone remember?
Jenkins user. Jenkins
user. So guys, that is happening because of this statement. If you want to run some container with some specific user, let's say Jenkins required, Apache required Apache, Tomcat required Tomcat, MySQL required MySQL. So Jenkins required Jenkins. So Jenkins user, you want to run the container as a Jenkins, then this line will will help you. Now you must be wondering, okay, Jenkins have used the base image which is a Debian, but Debian by default you have a root but don't have a Jenkins. So how do you get this user? You have to have a user in the file system so you can log in as that user. So how do you get it? So if you go a little bit up, read more carefully, see here, before only is being created. Group ID user add. It's a Linux command to create a user ID and group. So they're creating user here and they're running the container with the Jenkins user till here. That means till here, all this whatever had happened, the root user has happened. Now you are copying the container, some files, directory is a directory by the way inside this location. Again copying. Now last thing is here entry point. That's all. So you see that here, this is such a small Docker file with a few entries of Docker file. You can see that everything is can be controlled. Okay, so now these are there are two things which we have, which is not explained so far, entry point versus CMD, that I'm going to teach you right now. But guys, did you find any difficulties understanding this command, this file? Any difficulties, guys? Guys, are you there?
Yeah.
Rajesh, no issues.
Okay, now guys, this is the most important one as per my experience. The question is how to set, remember, how to set PID1. Remember the importance of PID1, I have talked about it already so many times. But how to set PID1 for the container in the image? How to set? So guys, you have to use entry point or CMD. See here, look at this. Do you remember Bintini, S Bintini? I mean, this is the older image that Docker file I'm using. So in the new image which you have used S Bintini you have. Do you remember this line? This is the PID one of the Jenkins image. Let me show you Ubuntu image, Docker Hub, Ubuntu image. What was the PID one in the Ubuntu image? Anyone remember?
Bash, I think.
Anyone?
Bin bash.
Bin bash, yeah. So I'll show you that one also. So I use the latest image. I think it's 18 or something. So go to AMD latest. Where is the latest? Here it is. 20, I think. It's not 18. 20. Now you see here. From scratch, they are developing as a base image, and you see that this guy has done so much of logical end. That means to reduce the number of layers, they have used so many see here, CMD, bin bash. So guys, how to set the PID one? You can use entry point or CMD, but the question is which one I should use? What is the difference? So guys, what has happened? Initially, CMD got introduced, where CMD can be replaced. Yes, CMD can be replaced. What does that mean? So here, let me show you directly rather than talking. See here, Docker, look at my screen here, Docker run -itd Ubuntu. There's one container I am creating. What is the PID one? Here you see bin bash, but same command again I run ls. See here. See here. Remember Ubuntu, you have a CMD. It can be replaced. It can be replaced with anything. It can be replaced with anything. So here, what has happened? The consistency of the behavior, you will not get it from the container. Sometime you see, I did not provide any input, so it's been used ls. I use ls, replaced. I use something else, it replaced. So here, when you create an image, just a second, guys. Let me just close the door. There's some noise coming from outside. Just a second. Yeah, sorry about that. So when you use CMD, it can be replaced. So most of the base images, they have CMD only. Why? Because they want you to replace wherever you want it and whatever you want it. So and get the work done. But Jenkins is something, if you replace, then what is the fun of using the Jenkins image? Jenkins image should not be changed. Jenkins, the applications, whenever you run the Jenkins image, you should get the Jenkins itself, nothing else. So in that case, you can use entry point. So entry point cannot be changed. See, entry point cannot be changed, cannot be changed, cannot be replaced. So for that purpose only, let me show you here. Docker run -d Jenkins, and here I am passing something like this. See here. Oh, sorry, Jenkins, right? That Jenkins. See here, Docker ps-a. See, the container got exited. That's a different thing. But is it got replaced? No. I pass LSSS, not replaced. So here, this is what it happens. So if you want to replace, use the CMD. If you don't want to replace, use the entry point. Now, next question is, what about if you use the 2 CMD? What will happen? What about if you use the 2 entry point? What will happen? What about if you use 1 CMD and 1 entry point in the Docker file? What will happen? Guys, this is the assignment for you. This is the assignment for you, to all of you, to figure it out and tell me tomorrow morning what exactly if I specify 2 Docker file. By the way, so you can exercise a little bit well. So I have a few sample files I would like to share with you. So DevOps School tutorial Docker and here. These are the 5-6 sample file which you have. Okay, you can practice it. All the commands, you know that. So it's very simple program. See here, this is with the CMD. This is with the CMD again. This is with the entry point. This is with the CMD. This is for the entry point. So again, check it out, all this stuff, and then do let me know what happens when you have a 2 CMD or 2 entry point, or 1 CMD and 1 entry point. When you set it up, what happens? What is the behavior of the containers? So guys, did you understand Dockerfile in detail? Any questions, any doubts? Any questions?
Yeah, so it's quite powerful. My one question is, so any and every commands we can use in Dockerfile, or how we know the plethora of commands, like you said, right? Linux command, or is it flexible for anything and everything? Like,
No,
or
basically you if you're using the Linux, all the bash shell will come command. See, basically I'll tell you here what is happening. When you ask me any command can I run, so why I'm running apt? Why? So because it's Ubuntu. Okay, simple thing. So you decide what command you want to run, so that executable should be there. Let's say if you're running Perl command here, so in that case Perl should be there in the base image, or here, or here. So you have to decide accordingly. Make sense?
yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So make sure that whatever the executable is, command or executable tools, whatever you want to call it, should be there in the base image or the upcoming layers, before the earlier layers. Yeah, more questions, guys?
Hey, Rajesh, one dumb question. So what is the scope of that variable when you set it in the Docker file?
No, there's no scope for it. This scope,
Okay.
for whatever you set ARG, it's activated for the entire Docker file. This is not
Okay.
a programming language where we have scope and all, but it's activated for the entire Docker.
Okay. So in case of nested, right? Like, is there any best practices which is available for, or
Yeah.
which you can suggest?
So many references are there. Docker file,
Right.
nested Docker file. You can check the official document itself is the best example actually. You don't have to read
Okay.
any other documents. So this is the one. Multi-stage builds. This is the best way. It has examples also, and complete explanation has been given.
Okay.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the 3D99 plan, and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.